Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Bellevue. I'm so grateful to welcome you into that love vibration that is unity. We are so blessed to have spiritual community to turn to in these times. I'm Reverend Marla Mason, and I am privileged and honored to serve as your minister this morning and every day of my life. It is such a blessing to serve you. I especially want to welcome you this morning with a sense of gratitude for spiritual community. Uh, Yesterday, I sent a letter, which perhaps most of you have read by now, and perhaps some of you not. But I want to let you know that I received a COVID-19 positive test result on Friday, and that was a moment for me as a person and as a minister. It was an opportunity for me to really think through who I am and what I represent in the world. My first response was actually some fear and some anxiety. My first response had a little bit of recrimination and self-blame in it. I wasn't careful enough. I let my guard down, which all of those things that might be a little bit true. Actually, I became a little bit complacent around ensuring that I was engaging in the most careful practices around distancing. And so that was a moment for me to make a decision. And I was really connecting with our mission here at Unity. Our mission, our vision, our purpose, the reason that we exist is for waking up. We are here to wake up one another and ourselves to a greater spiritual truth. And I had to remind myself of that, and to remind myself that Ernest Holmes taught us to abandon principle in time of need is to show that we do not know principle. And so I need to show that I understand the principles that we teach, that we understand the principles of oneness and unity and truth. And from that place, I can anchor in the reality that there is no condition that has any power over me, and that the only thing for me to do is remain centered in the power of love, healing love for myself and for others, and to give myself the opportunity to be. We're talking this month about rising strong. We're reading Brene Brown, and we're talking about rising strong, giving myself the opportunity to be in this experience, to be in the feelings that I'm having about this experience, and to just really make sure that I am anchoring those feelings and the experience in the grace of infinite love. And so that is what I'm about this month, and I invite you to be about that for me. I'm asking for your prayer support as I move through this time. I'm not feeling that great, and you can probably tell from my voice, I don't have a lot of voice. And I'm asking as a welcome into the power of our spiritual community, I'm asking you to support me in remaining anchored in the principle of truth that we teach, and that the grace of love is going to meet me and all of us who are walking this path of COVID exactly where I am, and that you walk the path with me. I invite you to walk the path consciously with me. And so, welcome into that vibration, into that kind of love, that kind of grace, that kind of power. Now, as I said, you may have noticed that my voice is a little rough this morning. Probably the most significant symptom I'm having is a very sore throat. And I knew I would not have enough voice to speak this morning. And so here it is, Saturday morning, and I need a last minute guest speaker. Where would I turn but to Reverend Marty Bacher? And he's going to be joining us here in a few minutes. Reverend Marty is one of those people who just shows up in your life and your friends in a moment. For me, what happened, I was with a friend at a conference. We were having lunch, Reverend Sally Robbins, and she started talking about Marty Bacher. And I'm like, who's Marty Bacher? And she's like, you don't know Marty? How could you not know Marty? And she made sure we got hooked up at that conference. And ever since that moment, He has been a friend and an ally and an advocate and a spiritual partner in this journey of ministry. And I'm so very, very grateful that I was able to text him yesterday morning, and he was an immediate yes to stepping in at the last minute. So you'll be meeting him. You'll be seeing his face in a moment. But let's just welcome him with love into the community of Unity. And I also want to welcome this morning our guest artist, Nathan Aswell, part of our extended family from British Columbia. He is been one of my favorite New Thought musicians for many, many years, and I'm grateful to welcome you. Let's give Nathan some love as well. Bless you, Nathan. He's going to anchor us in consciousness with a song. Go ahead, Nathan.
Thank you, Marla. This song is called A Wholehearted Life, and I'm singing it for you, Marla. I want to have a wholehearted life, a wholehearted life, where no matter what's done or left undone, I belong and I'm enough. A wholehearted life, a wholehearted life, where I'm worthy of love. Looking for certainty is really exhausting me. Perfect though I try to be, I have not been. Alone with my guilt and shame, afraid of more pain and blame. I numb out to stay in the game that I can't win. Time to make myself a brand new choice. I want to have a wholehearted life, a wholehearted life, where no matter what's done or left undone, I belong and I'm enough. A wholehearted life, a wholehearted life, where I'm worthy of love. So I choose to be set free, take responsibility, stand in vulnerability and speak my heart. To get love I must give love, to belong I must reach out, to find truth I must be true and play my part. 'Cause owning my story and loving myself too are the bravest things I'll ever do. I want to have a wholehearted life, a wholehearted life, where no matter what's done or left undone, I belong and I'm enough. A wholehearted life, a wholehearted life, where I'm worthy of love. Sing with me. I want to have a wholehearted life, a wholehearted life, where no matter what's done or left undone, I belong and I'm enough. A wholehearted life, a wholehearted life, where I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of love, worthy of love. I'm worthy of love, worthy of love. I'm able to love, able to love. I'm able to love, able to love.
And so we anchor in the power of love, the presence of something greater than we are. And we open our hearts to a greater awareness of this something, the source of all things, the universal presence that we call God. We simply lift ourselves in conscious awareness of this beingness, of this isness, and recognize that we have our being in it. And in this consciousness of unity, of oneness, of infinite good, I declare a great and mighty blessing on this time together this morning. I know that everything that unfolds for our good, the music, the message, the spiritual community we share, those who have said yes to deepening in spirit with us. We are all called by divine appointment to be part of this divine activity of love. And we simply say yes, our hearts, our minds open to all that unfolds. And so I know this time is well done in the mind of God. It is well done in our experience now. And I open this service with a grateful heart. And so it is. Amen. I'm going to read through our affirmation once, and as I read it, I invite you to just open your heart to the spiritual truth of these words, and then I will invite you to declare these words with me with conviction. I accept and bless every part of me, every moment of my life and my being, and I rise boldly into the awareness of my oneness with everyone and everything. Connected and complete, I say yes to a world that works for everyone, and so it is. And so breathing deeply, opening your heart to the truth of who and whose you are, please declare with me, I accept and bless every part of me, every moment of my life and my being, and I rise boldly into the awareness of my oneness with everyone and everything. Connected and complete, I say yes to a world that works for everyone, and so it is.
And to take us into the talk this morning, here's a song of mine called A Prayer to You. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, a prayer to you. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, my love. In every face may I see you, in every voice may I hear you, in all that is may this be true, may we be one, may I be you. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, a prayer to you. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, my love. In every breath may I breathe you, in every drop may I taste you, in all that is may this be true, may we be one, may I be you. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, a prayer to you. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, my love. In every touch may I feel you, in every heart may I feel you, in all that is may this be true, may we be one, may I be prayer to you, a prayer to you, a prayer to you. May all that I think and all that I do be a prayer to you, a prayer to you, my love. Be a prayer to you, my love. Be a prayer to you, my love. A prayer to you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Nathan. Amazing. Wow. Wow. I am so grateful to be here. Marla, I love you. You know I love you so much and grateful to be of service to you. I'm sorry you're going through this experience, and yet it is all God. So I'm grateful to be here today. Marla, I don't know if you would remember back when Agape was early in its formation. They were kind of famous for their technical issues with sound and whatnot. And I had a friend that said, for the longest time, I thought the first step of affirmative prayer is this thing on? And so now in our Zoom world, we're always like, can you hear me? Can you see me? But I hope you can see me. I hope you can hear me. I'm grateful to be here. I wanted to share real quickly with you. The last time I visited our beloved Unity of Bellevue was for a wedding for Jess and Josh Hartzog, and they just celebrated 20 years of marriage. So how awesome is life? Since we're talking about connecting things, I thought I'd also share with you that I know David Alexander was your guest speaker last week. So I took David to his first youth camp at 11 years old. And so, you know, it's interesting to see how all things are indeed connected. We say this all the time. We are part of unity. All things are connected. And yet sometimes, I think if you live long enough, you begin to see all of the connections. Sometimes I like to laugh that I'm sort of the Kevin Bacon of New Thought. If you go a few separation away, you'll always find me there. But which is only to say that I'm old and I've been around since dirt. But I'm grateful to be here with you today. And how amazing is it that we live in this time when I can be in Charlotte, North Carolina, speaking to a group on the other side of the country. And I know we'd all rather be together and to be able to hug and to celebrate that, but it really is such a remarkable time. So when Marla asked me yesterday, would I speak? Of course I said yes. And I just want to warn you now, I haven't been speaking for 4 or 5 months, so we could be here a while. No, I promise we won't. She gave me very clear instructions but it got me thinking about this amazing time. And she said, you know, here's our topic and here's what we're working with. And of course, I love Brene Brown, but have not read this particular book. And she said, you know, you can veer. And I've always said, I've never let a talk title get in the way of what I wanted to say. So, but I think what was on my heart to share with you today is this idea that we are in a remarkable time. I've been speaking of it a lot lately. I've been teaching of it a lot lately, because one of the things that I believe is we are in a growth period. And I've noticed that in New Thought, in Centers for Spiritual Living, in Unity, and other places, we tend to lean always towards the light, always towards everything supposed to be happy and, as I say, happy, peppy people all the time. And yet, I remember years ago hearing Matthew Fox speak at a Selamar for one conference, and what he said to us was, you have a beautiful philosophy, and yet you have an incomplete theology. Nothing like, setting your audience on edge, but so everybody's like, hmm. And he said, in the work of creation spirituality, where we are looking at the four paths of creation spirituality, which Meister Eckhart spoke of in the 11th century, and then Matthew Fox bring to light. He said there's four paths of spirituality. And I think I can share this with you on the screen here. Maybe. Or maybe I can't. I don't know. Never mind. Not important. I'll just go through them with you. And so he speaks in the fourfold path of creation spirituality. He talks about the path one is the via positiva. See, the experience of God in all things, the experience of God in creation. And no one is better at this than New Thought members, Unity. He speaks a second path, which is the via negativa, which is the experience of God by letting go and letting be. It is moving through, having the experience of God in the darkness. We're not very good at this. The third path, the via creativa, is the experience of God in breakthrough and giving birth to self and giving birth to God. And again, we're very good at this. We believe in the manifestation of divine principle into our life and into our experience and into our affairs. And then the fourth path is the via transformativa, the experience of God by way of compassion and social justice, by allowing our faith to do good works, where we were warned that faith of itself is insufficient, but by our works they shall know us. And so I've been reflecting on this as we've moved into this time, and just think about the last few months that we've been through. My last day at Unity of Charlotte was the first Sunday in February. I began attending a different church a couple weeks later, which I've become a very active and engaged part of. And I like to tell people I'm finally part of the 1%. Unless you think that means I'm super, super, uber wealthy. No, I'm a part of the 1% attending a Black church called St. Luke Missionary Baptist, and just loving this experience of being of service. And so in the midst of this, we moved into the COVID crisis and started figuring out how to do life differently, as we've done. And then we moved into this period of racial tension and injustice, and I think it's purposeful. Not that God is doing this to us, but it's an opportunity. You see, what I've watched in New Thought, now it's weird that I have all these kids that are older than me now that I took to youth camp, because I just decided I'd just hang out at 39 and call it good. But that in my years of experience, I noticed that this tendency to avoid the darkness can become a way of missing God. If we only look to find God in the light, we miss one of the paths. And this is what Matthew Fox was speaking to, of our incomplete theology. What do we do in the darkness? And so I'm reminded of this process. We would consider ourselves New Thought Christians, and we have an example for for our lives and for our teachings the life of Jesus Christ. And I've reflected, sometimes they talk about Christmas in July. I'm going to do a little Easter in July, if it's okay. Reflecting on this idea that we have the lesson of Jesus so powerfully and so beautifully, calling us to compassion, calling us to social justice, teaching us, for those willing, this way of approaching life and reality that is truly transformative. I loved Lynn's meditation this morning. Thank you. That was beautiful, Lynn, of listening, or how am I identifying myself right now? You see, in our minds, we often identify ourselves with the outer instead of with the inner. We identify ourselves with the experience that we are having. And so true spirituality, as I delve deeper and deeper into this path, I find that in the process of the death and resurrection, however you interpret that, there's this beautiful story that's played out over and over and over. If you understand the hero's journey, as Joseph Campbell put forth, there's always this process of going from the ordinary reality through a journey, through a passageway, the dark night, whatever that is, where we come face to face with ourself. And when we emerge from that, we emerge not as the person, that's where we find the gift once, and then we return to the ordinary world, not as the person who left, but as the person, the master of two worlds. Now, I believe our job on this lifetime is, if we are understanding this, we are trying to work out this mastery of our spiritual human selves. As Lynn said, we hear often, we are spiritual beings having this experience. But too often we identify ourselves as the experience we're having. And so Marla is having an experience. It is not who she is. It is a human, very real experience. And so the way of compassion, I remember years ago, I was early on, I think I was still in school of ministry, spoke at the church in Beverly Hills, and a lovely woman came up to me. I talked about being empowered by our pain. And she said, "Oh my God, thank you for saying that. I've been a member here and a practitioner at this church for like 20 years. And yet I recently went through the experience of breast cancer. And when I came to my community, everybody said, oh, it's going to be fine. And you are the light. And and she said, I knew all that. I knew spiritual principle. What I needed was a hug. What I needed was to be embraced as a human being going through this experience. And so if we look back to the message of Jesus as he moves through this, so rich and beautiful, but we think about the death and the resurrection, but very often we fail to mention the period in the tomb. And I would suggest to you that we are in a period of being in the tomb. In New Thought, at least I have been guilty of it, of wanting to get to resurrection. I don't want to do mess. I don't want to explore pain. I don't want to address the shadow. Part of what Brene Brown has brought forward so beautifully is our vulnerability is getting beyond our persona, our well-crafted resume, our well-crafted strategy for showing up in the world, to say, this is who I truly am. To embrace our darkness, to embrace our shadow, to bring our shadow to the light. And so I often call it this, we're sometimes guilty of practicing destination spirituality. And the destination most of us are trying to get to is someday someday I'll be rich. Someday I'll be happy. Someday I'll be joy. Someday I'll have this experience. And so in our work is to understand that this experience right here right now is calling us to the deeper place. You see, I think we often misunderstand the full story of this resurrection story. We too often don't understand the absolute essential necessary nature of the Judas, of the betrayal, of the invitation to this larger story. There is no larger story without Judas. And yet sometimes when Judas shows up in our lives, we want to practice separation. We want to practice otherness. We want to practice distancing. The period in the tomb is essential. And so I believe collectively, we are invited into a period of tomb, of the darkness, of the reconfiguring of self. I mean, we literally are being locked in our houses. I mean, I'm not the greatest metaphysician, but even I get it, right? I get that we are being called to be reflective. And what we're seeing is the world that used to be no longer works. So it should not be a surprise to us that we are experiencing this awakening, awareness of what has been going on for a long time. You see, lovely to think that because we elected Barack Obama, racism went away. Spoiler alert, it didn't. And what we're seeing now, I believe, is absolutely necessary, absolutely important, that we can't tuck away what has been unresolved. In the healing process, we often say that what needs to be healed must come up to the light, must come up into our awareness so that it can be healed and transformed. And so it is as if by collective agreement somehow we've said, how can we get there? How can we get to an expanded way of being in the world? And the universe said, I've got an idea. I'll send an invisible enemy that you can't see. Call it what you will. So that we can reevaluate. We can rethink. And so here we are in our tomb, and I'm reminded over and over of this idea of the butterfly. And we all know the process that a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. But sometimes what we don't recognize is that there is the process that when the caterpillar creates the cocoon, it literally dissolves into mush to reformulate itself into the butterfly. And then when the butterfly has reformulated, then there's a process of emerging from the cocoon so as it can fly in this beautiful self. I don't know about you, but I've felt my mushy life the last few months. I have felt like what I know, what I experience, my normal ways of getting through life have not been working. And so because I am always committed to my spiritual growth, I've really been in this place of what is it we must learn? What is it we must grow? I don't think it's an accident that somehow I went to this one little church just to check out the facility one Sunday and haven't left. I'm now running, Monica, thank you for your hard work, by the way. I'm now running the audio-visual piece of it, which I'm sure is a karmic debt I'm paying for all the times I've complained about my AV people over the 30 years of ministry. So I accept. But it's interesting. And part of what I've realized is the very best place I can be right now is in a Black church with people that I love and adore, celebrating life, being of service. My life is always so interesting. So I say all of this to say the question in this via negativa is not an invitation to self-pity. It is not an invitation to wallowing. It is not an invitation to victimization. It is an invitation into deeper awareness. Can we find God in the darkness? Can we find God in the brokenness? You see, what we need to heal is our broken ways of seeing and our broken ways of loving the world. I do believe we are moving into a transformative time. But we really can't get to that transformation until we've dealt with our own darkness, both individually and collectively. And so when I approach the world from that sense, a lot of what's going on right now makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect sense to me that we would need to bring to light the things that we have been saying for a long time. You know, I love this country and I'm so honored and humbled to be part of it. But I also recognize we've never lived up to our ideal. That when the founding fathers put together these brilliant documents, they said all men are created equal, which really meant all white men, and for some of it meant all white propertied men. But the ideal was set, and it has been a 240-year journey to the realization of the ideal. And we will continue that journey as long as there is that to be uncovered, that to be healed. So at some point we got all crazy and said, well, maybe we shouldn't own other people. Maybe that doesn't fill our ideal. And yet that didn't do away with racism. So there's an ongoing progress. At some point we got this crazy idea, maybe we should let women vote. I don't, who's up, right? Maybe we should let people marry the person that they love. Maybe we're on a continual journey towards the realization of the vision that we have held for all these years. Now, trust me, I can get as worked up about what's going on in the world as anybody else. But ultimately, what I know when I return to that awareness that I am a spiritual being, I am having a human experience. Sometimes I have the experience. See, it's really easy to be a human or spiritual being and having a human experience when there's money in the bank account and everything's working. We get tested in that when it's not that, when it's broken, when there's illness, disease, pain, suffering. But you see, that for me is where the richness lies. That is where the depth work lies. I think what Brene Brown has brought to the world is this idea of looking at our shame-based reality, where we want to put to the world a persona that says, hey, look at me, I've got it all together. Look at me, I've figured it out. Now, I know Marla has never done this, but I sometimes let my reverendship get in the way of being vulnerable. And so when we are in this place of mushiness, of chrysalis, there's this beautiful story about a child who saw a butterfly emerging and tried to help by opening the cocoon. And of course, we know that the butterfly died. There is a process of birth that happens on its own time and in its own way. If you've ever given birth to a child, you begin to realize this is the child's agenda, not mine. It happens when the child is being born. The birth into the next experience is also something that happens in its own time and in its own way. It cannot be controlled. So for me, my friends, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful that we're having this opportunity to move to a deeper experience of who we truly are. That we can find God not only in the light, but in the darkness. That we can find God in all things. That we can bring forth a new level of creation, and that we can bring forth a new level of transformation. Because out of our darkness, we bring light, and we work to enhance the experience of compassion, to enhance the experience of social justice. We talk about in our affirmation, a world that works for everyone. Beautiful words, a high vision, a high ideal. And yet, if we look at our world, it doesn't work for everyone. And so our work then is, yes, doing our own inner work, but then being of service, being a participant in creating that world, in bringing forth a new reality. I think it was Ernest Holmes that once said that we exist in a sea of unlimited possibility, and ours is the privilege of giving birth to it. And so we are privileged in this time to give birth to a new reality. And one of the things, I've been in the delivery room a couple times. I have no children of my own, but I've been in the room with my niece, and we always kind of forget it, but it's a messy process. It is not pretty. They're screaming, there's yelling, there's blood, there's all kinds of stuff going on. And when it's all over, somehow we go, well, wasn't that beautiful? Oh, this little baby is beautiful, absolutely gorgeous, but that whole thing was not pretty. And so here we are in this period. I believe collectively we are giving birth to a new reality, to a new possibility, to truly a world that works for everyone. And in order to do so, we must explore our shadow. We must explore the darkness. We must learn to see and be God in all things. There's a quote from, or a passage that I believe is attributed to Rumi, but I see a lot of things on Facebook from Buddha, and I'm pretty sure he didn't say them. But anyways, we'll give Rumi credit for this. It's called The Guest House. And he writes, "This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing out for some new delight. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond." I love that. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. And so, my friends, I'd like to end in prayer, if that's okay with you. For truly, we are in historic times. As we individually and collectively move through this new experience, as we truly open ourselves to the high principle that we teach, that God is everywhere present, always available, that we live, move, and have our very being in the divine. And as we are willing to surrender our ego, our littleness, and open to our spiritual essence, we realize there's nothing to control, There is simply that which we must allow. And so I'm speaking this word of truth for each of us gathered here, that no matter where we are on the journey, perhaps we are in the tomb even as we speak now, even as truth is moving through us, we realize we are divine beings having this experience. And because we are divine beings, because we are connected with the One, we allow our journey to unfold. And we give great thanks for all things. Meister Eckhart famously said, if the only prayer you ever gave was thank you, that should be enough. And so let us give thanks. And as I release this word, I do so knowing it goes forth as a blessing to all, bringing forth love, light, compassion, harmony, and peace. And through the power of the living Christ, I release this word knowing that it is so. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Beautiful, Marty. Thank you so much. Here's a song of mine called Little by Little. Little by little, bit by bit, I'm getting to the heart of it. Little by little, love is guiding me home. With every step along this path, I feel a little lighter. With every lesson that I learn, I burn a little brighter. Little by little, bit by bit, I'm getting to the heart of it. Little by little, love is guiding me home. And every soul along this road is like a little mirror. In understanding you, I see myself a little clearer. Little by little, bit by bit, I'm getting to the heart of it. Little by little, love is guiding me home. Throughout this journey, I've been shown that I am not alone. Whoa. With everything that I create, I grow a little stronger. With every triumph on this track, I'll go a little longer. Little by little, bit by bit, I'm getting to the heart of it. Little by little, love is guiding me home. Little by little, love is guiding me home.
Good morning, Unity of Bellevue. I'm honored to represent the board at Unity of Bellevue today. I just wanted to reach out to Lynn Zeller. The Michelangelo reference was so powerful for me, and I really recognize how you have mastered that experience for me, and I wanted to thank you for that. And Reverend Marty, that was just unbelievably powerful. Can't thank you enough. I know that we can get these influences anywhere in the world, but having Unity of Bellevue at our disposal every week, week in and week out, is a blessing for me. And so the abundance that we share to keep this ability going forward is a high spiritual activity. And I want to acknowledge that and thank all of you for participating in that way. You can always just go to the webpage or give a call to share your abundance with Unity of Bellevue. And if you would now join me in our offering affirmation together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
And so we give gratitude for all that is, for all that has been, and for all that will be. We give thanks for these tithes and offerings, knowing that they will be used to abundantly bless our center and to bless our mission, to awaken people and to transform the world. We affirm right here and right now that we live in an abundant universe, that universe is always for us and never against us. And we know this is true for every one of us. We are so grateful. And so it is. Hi, everyone. My name is Monica McDowell Elvig. I'm your center administrator. We welcome everyone to this service online, Unity of Bellevue. We are so grateful you are here. If you are visiting with us for the first time, we welcome you. You have been sent from beyond for us, and we are so grateful for the spiritual gifts and the presence that you bring us, even in this virtual world of Zoom that we are all experiencing right now. We invite you to join us in our online offerings. The best way to stay in touch with all of our online offerings right now, our events, is to sign up for our weekly e-newsletter. You can find the sign-up form on our website at unityofbellevue.org. On the bottom of every page is a sign-up form for that e-newsletter that goes out every Thursday morning. So we invite you to toggle over to our website and to fill out that form. You can also reach out to us via email or phone or social media. We'd love to hear from you and to stay connected. Some of the online offerings that I'm going to share today are this. We do a weekly Wednesday Community Connect. It's an informal gathering on Zoom every Wednesday at 1 p.m. just to check in with Reverend Marla and each other and to help us stay focused on our spiritual principles at this time. You can find the links for all of our gatherings on our website, unityofbellevue.org/launch. You can also hit the button at the top of every page that says Sunday and online gatherings. This Tuesday evening at 6:30, I am offering a Free for Life EFT workshop. That is a tapping workshop that helps us release anxiety, stress, PTSD, and emotional triggers of all kinds. It's very easy. I've taught it to 5-year-olds. It's very effective. It's over 90% effective, and I'd love to teach that to you. You can register for that through our website under events, classes, and workshops. We're also doing a couple of more breath work practice groups this summer. The next one will be on July 21st at 7 p.m. Again, you can sign up for that on our website. We are putting together also a Divine Dining cookbook to stay in touch with our Divine Dining fundraising events that we do every year. And we are looking for family or favorite recipes of yours. We are hoping to have all of those in by next Sunday. I know there's a lot of recipes around that people are talking about. I've heard people talking about, but we haven't received all of that many yet. So if you would just take a few moments this week to go to our website, unityofbellevue.org, and under events, under Divine Dining Cookbook is the link to that form to fill out a recipe per form. Up to 6 you can submit per household, and we'd love to get those in this week. Thank you for that. And thank you for Jean Palmetier for putting this all together. Our book of the month, Rising Strong by Brene Brown. I've got one more copy. This is it. If you would like to purchase that, you can go to our website or the link on our newsletter and fill out the form for that, and I'm happy to send that to you. Our prayer chaplains are always able and willing to pray with you and for you. If you have any prayer requests, you can go to our website, unityofbellevue.org/prayer, and fill out the prayer request form there. Or you can email them directly at prayerchaplains@unityofbellevue.org. If you would like to have one of the prayer chaplains call you to pray with you or just to talk with, please put that in your message and one of them will follow up with you. Today we are again doing a prayer circle after service. Because there's nothing else happening at the end of the service, we will not do a breakout room. We'll just ask that anybody who wants to stay for the prayer circle stay logged on to Zoom, and everybody who is not going to stay for the prayer circle, that you log off after the end of the service. We'll stop live streaming. It will be confidential. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. And Lynn Zeller and Lori Coleman will be our prayer chaplains for that prayer circle today. We want to give a big thanks to everyone who participated in our service today. Reverend Marty, thank you so much for stepping in on short notice for that beautiful message, inviting us into all of the ways that we are, even in the darkness. So thank you for that. And to Nathan for being our guest artist. Thank you so much for sharing with us your music, your heart, your spirit. Clayton for being our board host, for stepping in and doing that. Lynn Zeller, thank you for our meditation service today. It was beautifully done. We thank Sabrina for Unity Kids. You can find her Unity Kids program on our Unity Kids page on Facebook. And thank you, of course, to Becca as our music director, and Reverend Marla. Thank you for showing up even though you're not feeling tip-top. Thank you. Let us close this service with our prayer for protection. And please join me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thanks, everyone. Have a blessed week. We'll start the prayer circle in a few moments. Everyone else, you're welcome to sign off, and we'll see you again.
There are times when I cannot see the path in front of me. I lose my way. I feel so alone. Like every friend I've ever known is gone. So far, far from home. Then I hear life call to me. There are choices to make. So how will it be? Are you gonna